Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the best 4 methods of coloring. Like the easiest yet effective ones. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So, the first method is going to be cell shading method. What do you actually need to start coloring using cell shading? The first thing is a clean line art. Since it is the simplest form of coloring, so you need a clean and a solid line art, because there are no overpainting and lots of areas are exposed only with flat colors. So keep that in mind. The second thing is the knowledge of how light and shadows affect basic forms. For this one in particular, I already have a detailed tutorial on that topic. I'll leave the link down below on the description, or you can hit the eye icon on the right upper corner. And the last thing which I'm going to teach you is how to choose the right colors for your shading. So, what are the steps? First, line art. And as I said, for this to work, we need the cleanest line art possible. Second, local color, or the flat colors, which are the colors that haven't been changed or affected by a direct light. Now time to direct light. So choose the key light position you prefer. For this one, I'm going to use the upper right one. So now, you will see that the sphere has now 2 areas, the light area and the shadow one. But for this type of shading to work, so we expand the light area and compress the shadow one. So the character will be most of the time in mid-tones. And then we add some highlights to show the different kind of materials and same to the skin. And that's it guys, for real. You can add other shadows like the Terminator and the ambient occlusion, but you still can stop at this stage and it will look great. So as we work on grayscale, how to choose the shadow and highlight colors. So for the shadow, let's say the skin, we pick the flat color and then shift the hue towards the warm, and then go diagonally towards saturation. And that's it. So let's demonstrate that on the character. So I'll pick the skin color and then shift the hue towards the warm side, and then go diagonally towards saturation. And then you can draw the shadow shapes. You can do that with the brush, or you can use the lasso tool, since most of the shadows edges on that type of shading are hard edges. Or you can fill the whole layer with the shadow color you want, and then erase the light area also by eraser, or just use the lasso tool. So it's really on what suits your workflow. And then you do the same for the other parts. So here goes the benefit of using separate layers for every part. For highlights, you can also pick the flat color and then shift the hue towards the cool side, and go diagonally, but this time towards the desaturation part. So we now have warm shadows and cool highlights. Now for the extras. To add the ambient occlusion, you need to go darker than the shadow values. So you pick the shadow color and again shift the hue to the warm and slightly to the saturation side. And for the Terminator, you can choose a warm orange color to add it between the shadow and the light area. In Photoshop, you can use the effect styles for that, but for Clip Studio Paint, I don't really know how to do it, so I just do it manually. My advice is not to add too much of shadows or highlights, so keep it simple. And that's it guys for the first method. So what about the second one? The second one is by using multiply blending options. So I'll be only demonstrating on just some parts, and you can do the same for the whole. So the video won't end up too long, and also to try different methods. So again, we have the line art and the flat colors. Now we have the sphere again, so for this one, you decide if the whole character will be in cool or warm shadows. So let's try both. So let's choose a warm tone and kinda desaturated. I know shadows are saturated, but if you choose a saturated color, it will turn up too saturated. And for the sphere again, I'll use a soft brush, so I can have a soft edge with some gradations for the halftones. I'll try different colors like cool ones, blue and purple. You can experiment with that and also with the opacity to suit the look you are seeking for. So let's do that on the character itself. I'll use a warm color and clip the layer above the base one, changing it to multiply and then start shading. Some artists use 2 or more for the aesthetic look, like I'll use warm for the skin and cool for the clothes. And the white color helps me to make it look even cooler, I mean awesome, while choosing that blue hue. So again, as I said before, I'm using like the simplest ways to make a cool looking colored piece. So it is up to you to add more of shadows and lights like ambient occlusion, highlights, and saturated terminator. So again, enjoy the process. So the third method, which is going to be gradient maps. So for that you need a fully rendered grayscale piece. So what that looks like, imagine I'm having a color and then trying to make a gradation of it, with just going from the dark to the light. So how can we access gradient maps? First, right-click on the gradient layer, and then choose New Correction Layer, and then Gradient Maps. In Photoshop, as I remember, just go for the adjustment layers and then choose Gradient Maps. Hopefully I'm right, because I can't remember. So, what is actually cool about it is that you can choose how many colors, darks, or lights that can be on a single gradation. So, as you see here, there are already some templates that you can use. It is so helpful for backgrounds and metals like silver or gold, and the hologram effect. It is a very powerful tool, or you can make your own and save it as a preset or a template to use it later. It will save so much time and effort. So for the character, I'll render just this part and use the same method. So I already chose the flat color for the skin. Now let's play with those sliders to reach the effect we need. And that's it. Way to go. So what about the fourth method? It is actually similar to the multiply one, but the difference is that multiply tends to darken whatever color is below it. But when we use this method, which is the color blending option, it does not affect the values below. So whatever the value you use for the color you are choosing, it won't affect the values you already used while rendering. If you don't understand, I'll just show you. Again, we have the sphere and we added our shadows and lights. Let's say that this is our skin. So we're going to choose a skin tone. So we add a layer above the rendering layer and change it into color and pick the color you want. So as you see, whatever you're going to choose, the values below will not change. But for this one, to work in a good way, especially for the skin, you need to add some color variations, some reds and oranges, so skin won't end up looking dead. Finally guys, lots of artists use lots of methods to color their drawings, but they had to experiment a lot to see what actually suits the best and serves their own style of drawing and the vibe they are trying to convey. So choose whatever suits you and what works the best for you. And good luck with that. So I hope this tutorial helps and thank you for watching.